But first, check out the play by Ramon Laureano. Throws a 321-foot laser, clocked at 91 to get the runner out at first.
This is one of the most impressive throws I've ever seen. Man, look, he gets a good running start. Crow hop on the fly. Perfect arc.
Jenna, 321 feet. How many yards is that?
Hold on. I'm going to carry the one. 107?
Oh, Jenna Wolf!
Oh!
I'd have lost $10,000 on that. that's
you know what else, CC? But Nick writes it down for me to say just as he's asking.
Don't
you have to always be the smartest one. I got to leave it for you to be.
I promise no one doubted that based on your one answer. People are starting to question who's supposed to be the smart one on the show.
Amazing pass.
Hey, soccer action over the weekend. This was here on FS1. Wayne Rooney in the 96th minute. Nice pass to Luciano Acosta, who makes a great jump onto that wall, which is the most impressive part out of all of that.
I don't know how many yards that is in the air. I think it's about 65 when you consider that it's going cross field. This is a remarkable play. And again, there were 6 minutes of stoppage time. They were at 95-35. So you got about 30 seconds left in this game. Tie game. That's great, man. Wayne Rooney in the States is fun now.
Yeah. All right, on to the NFL. Check out this video of Antonio Brown with the nice route running skills, CC.
Yeah, this is nice. This is nice right here. Perfect technique off the release. He gets a head nod back to the quarterback. Now, typically, when you look back to the quarterback, that's going to bring the defender's eyes to the quarterback. Watch Joe Hayden. His head goes back. His head. Now, you're going to need a lot of time to throw this. Yes. You're going to need a little pump fake, too. But a little out and up in the red zone, getting it done.
Feels like he had him beat 3 times in this. Like right off the release.
No, he was setting him up. Nice little stem. Stick.
You want to see a nice
head,
catch?
Finish him off.
Geremy Davis of the Chargers. And then the wherewithal to turn around, and he's in the end zone.
As impressive as the catch is, the fact that he can get himself turned around and score, that he doesn't fall, that is every part of this. That's how you make a football team.
A lot of times, too, the receiver gives up because he thinks he's going to get pass interference, but you can't depend on the referee. He's not going to call that. Great finish. High point in the ball, that means catching the ball at its highest point in the receiving area, off the ground. You can't play wide receiver and play it on the ground all the time. Magnificent.
That was great.
Finish.
All right, let's move on to the Cleveland Browns now.
About football.
Yeah. I see that. Get this. Receiver Antonio Callaway was recently arrested for marijuana possession. Now, on most teams, punishment would be not playing in a game. Unless, of course, you're the Cleveland Browns, where apparently punishment is the exact opposite. The projected starting receiver got a ton of playing time. His coach, Hue Jackson, had an interesting explanation why.
I was trying to make him play the whole game if we could. I didn't want him to come out because that was part of the consequence of what he'd been through, and he knows that. That's what it was. Either you sit him or make him play. I thought it was better to make him play. Make him play as long as he could. There was a couple of times he kept waving to come out. We said, no, stay in there.
The whole team's going to get arrested for marijuana. Imagine everyone that wants to start this season.
That is, you're joking, but one of your, I think, the best moments I've ever seen you on television, this is before I knew you. And it was talking about
going downhill since
it was talking about an unfortunate situation. I'm talking about the Adrian Peterson thing, and you were impassioned, and you made the point. You were saying, take him off the field. It's the only thing some guys are going to understand is having the game taken away from them. And that's what we often hear coaches do, is the worst punishment is to not let a guy play. So why would this be the punishment?
Well, in Cleveland, their staff, John Dorsey and Hue, they met with Callaway after the incident. He actually got pulled over, traffic violation, which they found out he was in violation with driving with a suspended driver's license, and he had a small amount of marijuana in the car. Now, because they believe that he wasn't smoking, and he says it was a family member who had the car. His car was shipped recently, and the reason why they would believe him is because he's already in stage 1 of the drug program. Well, how do I know that? He had a diluted sample at the NFL Combine, which automatically puts you in stage 1, which automatically you have mandatory testing. So in him getting stopped, the league probably already tested him, know that test was negative for THC. So I can understand what Hue and them are doing, because they believe that he made a mistake in being in a car that had marijuana, but they believe that he didn't flunk a drug test because he's already in the program. I've seen this happen before. they leave you out there. And it is punishment because you're so tired, you can actually get hurt. But it's a good learning tool that football coaches use in an instance like this. There is some guilt, but also they want there to be some other type of punishment, and that's to leave you in the game and why you're tired, because you don't have the type of conditioning that you're going to have later in the season.
And Callaway, by the way, needs to play football. He didn't play last year at Florida. So,
yes.
and maybe he'll be suspended by the NFL for this because he's already in this program. Maybe not. But regardless, I understand why they wouldn't want to suspend him, wouldn't want to make him miss more football. Here's my only problem, and this is one of the downsides, I suppose, for a team of being on Hard Knocks. We get more information than we otherwise would have. We know that much to the consternation of some of the assistant coaches on the Cleveland Browns, they have a program in place where they will remove guys from practice preemptively. We know that they will try to take preventative measures to make sure guys stay healthy. You're telling me that doing this, the one downside to doing this is guys can get hurt.
Getting hurt.
Is that if a guy's that exhausted,
absolutely.
And so that seems to run askance to what
you do realize you do have the training staff watching him. Now, the one thing about Hard Knocks, you got to be careful. People are not familiar with the medical provisions in pro football now. That being on the sideline, they're very, very complicated. How many neurologists they have there, independent of the team. So right now, if you watch an NFL practice and how they do NFL practices, it's totally different. You would think, wow, how are we going to have an NFL team? It's totally, totally different. So I would be careful as far as the Browns are concerned. The Browns are doing the right thing. All right? This has been done before. All right? We know about been Hue. All assistant coaches want the players out there. All head coaches want the guys healthy. So that balance there, you're always going to have staff members saying, I think the guy should play, because old school football and the way it was done, it can't be done that way anymore.
Do the Browns concern you at all? I mean, we're only like a week and change into the preseason, and Josh Gordon is not in camp.
The wide receivers,
Callaway's already got an issue.
They traded Corey Coleman.
They're thinking of bringing Des Bryant in. It just sounds like for a team that really wants to stay on the straight and narrow and focused on maybe winning, say, a single game this season, they just seem like maybe they are in a bit of a disarray. At least, yes, on the receiving corps.
They're not in disarray.
Okay.
All right? Antonio Callaway was drafted in the 4th round for a reason. He was one of the top 5 wide receivers in the draft, but had a number of problems at the University of Florida that led for him being dismissed from the team. So for him to have some type of issue, no. Since Josh Gordon didn't come to camp, they haven't talked about him any. So to say that the Browns are in disarray, that wouldn't be fair to what's going on with the Browns and everything.
Maybe use a different word than disarray. A part of the team that I thought a month ago was potentially going to be their biggest strength, their receiving core, it now looks like Jarvis Landry and a bunch of questions.
And Jarvis Landry's also had some inflammatory comments.
Yeah, but he's been great. I'm not worried about it.
It's been a highlight.
Well, but that part I'm not worried about.
This is the most the Browns have been talked about in a long, long time.
Sure.
Okay, let's not forget, all right? They won 1 game in the last 2 freaking seasons. You need talented players to be able to change that. Jarvis Landry is part of a positive change. John Dorsey, the general manager, is part of a positive change. Us having the Browns on this show as much is a positive change. So this team is a lot better, and they have gotten better at quarterback than anyone in the National Football League. In trading for Tyrod Taylor and drafting Baker Mayfield, that was not a home run. All right? People were still shocked that Baker Mayfield was the first pick in the draft. He came from a long way down in the bottom part of that first round to convince them to be in that first part, the first pick.
I want people to understand, when CC says that wasn't a home run, I think you mean it wasn't considered like a sure thing going into it.
No, absolutely.
It was when he said, not that it wasn't a home run, that it won't work out, that it was going into the draft.
No, I was a believer in Baker a long time ago.
Right. That's why I wanted to clarify, because you've been a proponent of Baker Mayfield for as long as anybody I know. It wasn't the predicted pick the day of the season, and that Baker